Hey, and welcome back. My name is Fabian. I'm a former automotive strategy consultant turned digital product manager, and in today's episode of the ongoing series focused on digital product management, we will be delving into product design and UX and UI, so user experience and user interfaces, covering four main areas. So first, I'll be covering a fundamental understanding of product design and UX and UI. Secondly, we will be talking about principles of successful product design. Thirdly, we'll be covering the user experience and user interface design process. And then fourth and fifthly, we will be delving into any tools and technologies we can use for product design. And finally, I'll be covering, from a product manager perspective, the collaboration with product designers and how to work with them effectively. Effective design and user experience are really essential for creating intuitive, engaging, and successful digital products. You will all have had some form of experience of products that potentially from a technical and on paper served a particular purpose, but weren't really or haven't really been used for a lack of kind of intuitive and clear design language or user experience. And that's why the topic of today is really important. In terms of the kind of understanding of product design and user experience and user interfaces, what actually is product design? And product design can be defined as the process of conceptualizing, planning, and creating the user experience and visual interfaces of a digital product. So what does it mean in terms of user experience and user interface design? UX design focuses on enhancing the usability and accessibility and pleasure of interacting with a product, while the user interface, UI, design focuses on designing the visual elements and interactive components of the product. And there is a really important interplay between product design, UX design, and UI design in creating a coherent, cohesive, and delightful user experience. So all of these components, they can't be treated in isolation. There needs to be a coherent approach, and this can be achieved through clear principles. And I will be covering a couple of, it's not an exhaustive list, but a couple of important key principles of product design that contribute to successful, or the creation of successful digital products. First of all, design needs to be somewhat, at least, or for the most part, user-centric, focused on understanding user needs, behaviors, and preferences to inform any design decisions. There needs to be an element of consistency, so we need to maintain consistency in designing elements, in navigation patterns, in visual aesthetics, to enhance usability and familiarity, so that is clear to the users. It also needs to be there to be intuitive, so that users know where certain elements are. It needs to be simple, so simplicity is another key principle, where we strive for simplicity in design to minimize cognitive load. So users shouldn't be needing to think hard about how to use certain areas of our products, but it should be really intuitive, and we need to streamline user interactions so that for a particular type of functionality it's very similar across a range of different variations. In terms of accessibility, we need to ensure that the product is accessible to users of all abilities by adhering to accessibility standards and best practices. And finally, the final principle are feedback and iteration. We want to encourage user feedback and iterate on designs based on usability testing and real user interactions. There is a kind of generic UX, UI design process that I would briefly outline, but the kind of overarching, I would emphasize that you really have to see what works best for you in your environment, but the awareness of these different stages can really help you pivot or shape your specific individual process that you use for your products. First of all, in terms of research, or research is generally the initial stage where we conduct user research, market analysis, competitor benchmarking to gather insights and inform design decisions. Secondly, wireframing. So we create wireframes to outline the structure, layout, and flow of the digital products without focusing at this stage on visual design. Thirdly, we prototype. So we develop interactive prototypes to simulate user interactions and test usability before analyzing designs. Fourthly, we focus on, or the fourth step is visual design, where we focus on the application of visual elements such as colors, typography, and imagery to enhance the aesthetics and the aesthetic appeal and brand identity of the product. It's also where we'd have a kind of clear color scheme, clear kind of design languages in terms of shapes, etc. Next, usability testing. We conduct usability tests with real users to identify usability issues, gather feedback, and validate any design decisions that we've taken in the process. And finally, we iterate, of course. So we continuously iterate on designs based on user feedback, on insights gathered from usability testing, potentially from real usage data, to refine and improve the user experience continuously. There are a couple of tools and technologies for product design that you can leverage. And a couple of them I would highlight are, first of all, in terms of wireframing and prototyping tools, you can use applications like Sketch, Adobe XD, Figma, InVision, Axure, RP, and many more. I also tend to use, our team members use digital whiteboard tools like Lucid and Spark to wireframe designs. Secondly, in terms of visual designing tools, you can use tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, Sketch, Figma, and others. And finally, in terms of usability testing, you can use platforms such as User Testing, Optimal Workshop, or Maze to make sure that your product is easy to use, and these tools can really help you get there faster and to more specifically with a better outcome. And there are no clear kind of best products that fit all circumstances. So you will always have to see and iterate which products work best for you. I wouldn't necessarily start using loads of products, new products at the same time. Just start with one and then iterate very purpose-driven towards a clear goal, and explicitly emphasize the specific questions you're trying to answer across the process by using specific tools, if you want to use specific tools. Finally, how to collaborate with designers. So it's really important, or the relationship between product managers and designers is really important in creating meaningful digital products. There are a couple of best practices and ways of working. We need to establish clear communication channels and expectations between product and design teams. We need to involve designers in the product development process from early stages to ensure alignment with user needs and product vision. And we need to foster a culture of collaboration, creativity, and mutual respect between product and design teams to drive innovation and excellence in product design. But this element of trust is super important, and really getting a good understanding for each other's ways of working and clearly articulating preferences in terms of how to collaborate effectively. And again, there isn't a clear golden bullet, but we really have to kind of test and learn. And it's also about kind of different personality types, so just being aware of how the individuals in your respective teams can work effectively and efficiently is crucially important. But really focusing on improving the relationship is critical. So maybe having potentially even a separate retrospective just focused on this relationship initially could be a good way to kind of head in the right direction. The role of product design, just to summarize and conclude, is critical, and of user experience and user interface design to create meaningful, user-centric, visually appealing, and intuitive digital products. I would highly encourage you to prioritize design and user experience considerations in your product development processes and collaborate really closely with designers to create exceptional digital experiences, which are arguably a competitive advantage and differentiator in so many contexts in today's day and age. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I see you again in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.